Let's play a game. This game is called Fight to the Death. It's simple. When somebody says, "Get these jokers off my point," the game begins.
Get these jokers off my point.
Go. Oh, right in the gut. Genji, turn and face me. I didn't think you'd actually turn. Honorable, but foolish. Hey, Pharaoh. Come on, hit me. Hit me. You can't hit me. Come here. Eyes up, soldier. Who's next? Oh, there's nobody left to play with. Yes, the sad truth of it now is that Genji favors the dangerous games, but it wasn't always like this. There was a time in his youth where Genji enjoyed the simpler games in life with his brother Hanzo, such as Twister and Connect 4. But in all these games, Genji was a little better than his brother, and even in times where Hanzo would gain the upper hand, Genji would cheat and bend the rules for his gain. And then, one fateful day, during a heated contest of snakes and ladders, Hanzo had had enough. Genji, determined not to lose, rolled his dice poorly in a manner that would see him fall to the bottom through the snake. But instead he chose to disregard the outcome and accelerated his pace to the top row of the board, steps from a false victory, all the while claiming, "Brother, we don't need ladders to climb anything." Hanzo was incensed. This was the last straw, and in a fit of rage and perhaps a slight overreaction, Hanzo struck his brother a near-fatal blow. An attack that would leave Genji hanging on a dying breath. He would later awaken in a surgical bed under the watchful gaze of what he could only assume was an angel. Turns out she was a doctor who likes to dress up as an angel, and in a sweet voice she spoke to him. The time for games is almost over, Genji. But it doesn't have to end this way. You do still have a choice. Would you care for a game of Operation? And Genji was happy to let the doctor win this one, because in the long game of life and death, Genji had once again triumphed over his brother. Not only that, but now he was half machine too. What a sicko! And now, here he stands, a slicing, dicing, wall-running, shuriken-tossing, cyborg dragon ninja. Could you get any cooler? Down you go, big man. No one is safe anymore. Doctor, I hate to do this to you. I'm lying. I love it. You should never have brought me back. No one is safe. Not even death. Not even... me? Is that me? It's one of me. I'm so confused. It's all too fast. Oh, warm health kits make everything better. Who put that axe there? I hear you behind me. You've come back. You're not safe. No one is safe. Mercy. Mercy. Come back. I'm not safe. Get me out of here. No, I want more. I'm coming back. I want this. I love this. I live for this. This game. I will win it. You can't beat me. Whew. Oh, I'm not done. Come on. Next. Come on, you. That's it, right? Well, you don't stand a chance. Well, get out of here. There is no hope for you. I'm going to call that a victory. So Genji is a marvelous hit-and-run hero. He's good at finishing off low-health opponents in the back who have been poked at by your teammates or even yourself, and then making a swift getaway before he gets caught out by means of a dash, a double jump, a wall climb, or simply a retreat whilst deflecting. The greatest appeal of Genji is that there are countless options available to you whilst you play. Tons of decision-making, and demanding top-notch awareness and mechanical skill all the while. When you play as Genji, you can feel like a god, and when you're against a good Genji, you are living a nightmare, because while he can be so vicious, he's an utter bastard to kill. This gives the Genji player two mindsets to consider: fight or flight. And after picking up that kill on the straggler at the back, you might opt to retreat safely. Or perhaps you're looking for the next one, hunting a new target and looking to chain together consecutive dashes and combos, attracting the eyes and attention of their team as you dance around them, all the while enabling your team to get in and do their thing freely. They cannot handle both of you at once. So how do you do it? How do you actually fight people as Genji? For the first part, there are 3 attacks you need to know about and understand. Firstly, the Shuriken's main fire shoots out a trail of 3 blades at a time. They don't travel particularly fast, but they travel in a straight line, they do not dip over distance, and each individual blade deals 28 damage. And rather nicely, that damage does not fall off over distance. The alt fire fans the blades out 3 at once. Same properties, no arc, 28 damage per blade with no damage fall off. As a quick note, you have 24 blades before you need to reload. That's 8 bursts of any kind. But the reload is kind of odd looking and doesn't have an obvious tell as to when it's finished and you can cancel the animation. If you can't spare a moment to look in the bottom right, you can look at Genji's arm, and when the shutter begins to close, you have reloaded and you can safely dash, wall climb, pull out your sword, whatever you want. And as a final note for these shurikens, they can all headshot. Lastly, Swift Strike. Absolutely crazy ability because of, obviously, the maneuverability benefits. The dash is very fast and covers a generous distance. It also deals 50 damage to all people caught in the path. And most importantly, and probably the single biggest enabler for the way Genji plays, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset on an elimination. Not just a killing blow, but an assist. You could simply tag anybody with any point of damage, and if they die, your Swift Strike will be up and ready to use again. So once you know these 3 things, you'll have some basic understanding of how Genji can deal some damage and kill people, but it doesn't seem all that devastating, right? Right. We're going back to my earliest Genji highlight of something cool I did, which as it turns out, wasn't all that cool. But during the early days of the beta, I sure was proud of myself. At this point, I don't have a good grasp of how to best use my shurikens or maneuver during the fight. But what this will do at the very least is give a good display of Swift Strike's cooldown resets at play. Because I know it does 50 damage, and I know what 50 health looks like, so I can swoop in for the kill, and another. Back to back. Woo! What a player! So how do we expand on it? How do you use the shurikens? When you're supposed to dash? When should you stay back and poke? When should you go in for the kill? The truth is there's not one correct answer. There's a lot of variables for a lot of different situations. Something to be discussed at full length in the Advanced Genji Guide you might see in about 10 years once I'm ready for that. In the meantime, there are some simple practices that will fit most situations. Now typically you want to identify a target, such as a weakling, or a healer, or preferably a weak healer. One that your soldiers trickle down to half health, or that your Widowmaker has caught in the body. That's the kind of target that Genji is great at dealing with, to go in and execute them and get back out. Now typically, Genji will burst an opponent down with a fast little combo, a series of animation cancels, all combined to deliver a chain of 3 quick attacks in a shotgun-like blast. The combo is Alt Fire, Quick Melee, Swift Strike. The melee attack cancels the fan animation, and the dash cancels the melee animation, meaning you can do them all instantly for a quite devastating burst. So let's get some numbers real quick. Because this combo depends on both the fan and the melee, it's obviously a close-range combo. So let's put ourselves in the optimal situation, close enough to land all 3 fan blades and hit the melee. Now each blade, as we said, does 28 damage, times 3 blades, that's 84 damage. Plus the 30 damage from quick melee takes us to 114, and finally Swift Strike for 50, 164 damage. That's pretty good. Anything that one-shots Tracer is good in my books. Now, because these blades can headshot, this could stretch further. If you hit these 3 blades where 2 of them are headshots, you could one-shot a 200 health character. Amazing! However, this is extremely unlikely and you should not count on it. Hitting them with 3 blades in the body is also unlikely, so the 164 damage combo, which would sound kind of standard, is not 100% dependable given the pace of the game and how fast all the characters move around. Not to mention, different sizes for different characters. The left and right blades of the fan may go wide of the mark if the target you're after isn't all that big. If you want to execute a target, the safest bet is that you'll hit them with 1 blade, being the middle blade of the fan, followed by the melee and the dash. That alone is still 108 damage and is considerable. The reality is, it's a 6v6 game where everyone can hurt each other, and if your teammates haven't injured them yet, then you can soften them up yourself, using the left click from a distance, or, if it's an enemy you deem safe enough to approach, get close and beat them up with fan of blades. In this case, I get a few enemies, some tricky to hit, but I can see if taking damage and I can go in on. Alright, so we've got a couple of blades plus the dash, just over 100 damage. One headshot plus the dash, just over 100 damage. The whole combo, plus a bit of his own shotgun, almost 200 damage. And no combo required for Roadhog, he was already weak and was ulting so he couldn't heal, thus deemed a safe time to go in and spray to finish him. Now all the while you'll be fighting, you'll be making yourself difficult to hit. Genji can wall climb just like Hanzo, but he can also double jump, and he can even combine the two, double jumping, latching onto a wall, then hopping off that wall, and then jumping again. With all that in mind, let's get the hell out of here. Shit dog, get off my case. Is Genji gonna follow me? No, but there's a Pharah. Get us the hell back! Death from above! You bastard! Could you just leave me alone? Well, with that much attention, perhaps you'll die anyway, but if you can pull that many eyes on you, maybe take one or two to the grave with you, then you're doing a fine job. The wall climbing, the double jumping, and the combination of the two, going from side to side, will give enemies nightmares trying to hit you, as if it wasn't difficult enough for them anyway. Genji is not a very large target. Not to mention that one other ability that's gonna make it even harder. So, Deflect. Well, this place is fucking useless. Maybe... Oh, Jesus, forget it. Genji can deflect so many things, it'd be quicker to list the things that he can't deflect. Winston's lightning gun, Xayah's beam attack, Symmetra's beam attack, Symmetra's turrets, Mei's freezing spray, Lucio's boop, Junkrat's steel trap, Junkrat's tire, and Reinhardt's earth shatter. You can also use Deflect to stop Roadhog's chain. It won't send it back at him, it'll just block it. You can also use it to block all melee attacks. Again, not deflecting the damage, but simply blocking it, including Reinhardt's hammer. But you can't use Deflect to stop the damage from an enemy Genji's Dragon Blade. So pretty much, all bullets, all projectiles can be deflected. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of powerful stuff. That's a lot of ultimates. Well, there goes the Nerf squad. Deflect is the single most interesting ability in the whole game for the sheer amount of things it can interact with. And everything I said about Fight or Flight goes out the window. When you hit Q, you pull out Dragon Blade, you're like, fucking come on, let's go. Here we go. This was a bad idea. Whoa! What? Oh, no. No. No, don't show this to everyone. Oh, it's a different one, thank goodness. Well, see, this is a little better. They're all distracted. I have teammates for them to look at, and then they start looking at me, and my teammates hit them, and I dash to them, hit them in the back, and they just can't escape. There's no escape. No one is safe. With Dragon Blade, not even Genji is safe, but there's a time and a place for it. The time is not 1 versus 6, as we've witnessed. Dragon Blade is best popped on scattered opponents, or during a team fight where your team is also present. Because when you pull a sword out, all the enemies are shit scared of you, but if they can afford to spend all of their power on you and you alone, they will catch you. Get them in a situation where they can't look in all directions at once. And the place to pop it is always on Mercy. You kill Mercy with Dragon Blade, not your Mercy. You can't kill your Mercy. There's some system in place where you're supposed to respect your own Mercy, but if you could, yeah, I'd consider it. Mercy is the true evil of this game. Soldier! Ow! Why can't I get a dignified Dragon Blade? Let's be sensible about Dragon Blade for a moment. When you have Dragon Blade out, you can no longer throw any shurikens, but you can still do everything else, namely wall climbing, double jumping, deflecting, and dashing. When you pull Dragon Blade out, the cooldown on your dash is reset. So if you want, you could go dash, Dragon Blade, dash again, for free. Each swing of the sword will cleave enemies, so you can get multiple hits in one swipe, and each hit will deal 120 damage. 2 hits for most characters. With Genji, I think of Q as my no mercy button, in every sense. To summarize, finally, shit, I'm exhausted. Genji, with some precision, is excellent at murdering squishies, executing near-dead targets. He's not too good against tank-heavy teams, not just because they have a ton of health, but because some of the tanks just naturally counter him. Winston being the major counter. Genji prides himself on being very difficult to hit, but Winston doesn't have to worry about that because his Tesla cannon will find Genji no matter, and it will squeeze through his deflect all the same. Xayah, again, difficult for Genji to kill. She'll also protect her squishy friends from Genji's attacks, and her beam will cut through Genji's deflect, although with some considerable aim required. Reinhardt's hammer swings are quite easy to land on Genji. Roadhog. Roadhog is an interesting one. It's more of a duel. Roadhog entirely depends on hooking you. It's up to you to dance around it, dash away from it, or deflect when he throws to block it. There's a lot of mind games there, and it's pretty much the first to crack. He can throw that hook once every 6 seconds. It's up to you to avoid it continually until you and your friends kill him, or he times it and lands it perfectly. Just another one of Genji's many games. And in all of these games, there can only be one winner. This has been Genji. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.